Hello everyone, let us critically analyze the play Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett in this video. We will be discussing about some facts and the critical analysis of each and every part of Waiting for Godot in this video. Let's get started. Let us first get to know who Samuel Beckett was. Samuel Beckett was an Irish playwright, a novelist and a short story writer. He has also translated many works from French to English. He won the Nobel Prize in Literature in the year 1969. Samuel Beckett is also known as the father of the absurdist theatre. Let us now have a look at a few facts of the play Waiting for Godot. Waiting for Godot was first published in French in the year 1952 with the name En Attendant Godot. And then in the next year 1953 it was published in English with the title Waiting for Godot. The subtitle of this play is A Tragic Comedy in 2 Acts. In this video we will not be discussing the summary of the play Waiting for Godot, rather we will focus on the analysis part of this play. Okay, so coming to the significance of title. When we read the title Waiting for Godot, we come to a notion that Godot might be an important person. But when we read the complete play, we see that throughout the play, Godot does not even appear on stage. Okay, so he might be an important person, but he does not appear on stage. So when we read the title Waiting for Godot, after we read the play, we get to know that Godot is not the subject of this play, rather waiting is the subject of this play, because throughout the play we see the two tramps, Vladimir and Estragon, they are waiting for Godot. Critics have said that the word Godot might have been formed from the English word God, or God is said as Godot in Irish language. And I told you Samuel Beckett was an Irish playwright. So these two might have been possible sources from which the word Godot came into existence. Okay. Once in an interview, Samuel Beckett was asked about the meaning of Godot, and he said, "If I knew, I would have said so in the play." Act 2 in fact mirrors Act 1. Whatever is performed in Act 1, many of the things are repeated in Act 2. Okay. And this boredom and triviality reflects the purposelessness of human life. Now, coming to how the title is depicted in the play. Okay, many times we come across this sentence where Estragon asks Vladimir, "What are we doing here?" And Vladimir replies to him, "Waiting for Godot." And with this, we get a notion that Godot is an important person from whom these two tramps have many expectations and hopes. But all they can do right now is to wait for him to arrive. But he does not arrive throughout the play. Let us now talk about the structure of the play. The structure of the play is circular, which means the play starts with Waiting for Godot. Okay, the two tramps, Vladimir and Estragon, are waiting for him, and the play ends with Waiting for Godot. Even if the boy comes and he tells them that Godot is not going to come today, but he will come tomorrow, the two tramps decide among themselves that they will move away from this place for that moment. But they say this, they do not move from their place. This indicates the circular structure of the play. Talking about the setting, the play is set in a lonely country road with one single tree. Okay, this tree is bare without any leaves in the Act 1, and the tree has some 4 or 5 leaves in Act 2. Now, the play shows us that there is a difference of one single day between the two acts, but when we see 4 or 5 leaves on the bare tree on a lonely country road in Act 2, we are skeptical about the location of the place. We are unsure if the location in Act 2 is same as that in the Act 1. Okay, we are unsure about that. We also are skeptical about the time duration that has passed between the two acts. Okay, the play says that one day has passed, but when we see the leaves on the tree, on a lonely tree, on a bare tree, we are skeptical about it. Talking about the characters of the play Waiting for Godot, we have two pairs over here. Okay, talking about the characters of the play Waiting for Godot, we have two pairs over here. The first one is Vladimir and Estragon, and the second pair is of Lucky and Pozo. Okay, so Vladimir represents the mind aspect of human beings. He seems to be logical and intellectual. Vladimir is also called as Didi or Albert in the play. Estragon, on the other hand, is called as Gogo or Adam in the play. Estragon represents the body aspect of human beings. So, Vladimir seems to be superior to Estragon, and these same characteristics are represented in the another pair, which is of Pozo and Lucky. Pozo is a wealthy landlord who has power. Okay, he is abusive to Lucky. Lucky is his slave. Okay, and he is subservient to Pozo. We also see that Pozo becomes blind in Act 2. Okay, and then Pozo and Lucky, they both have to depend on each other. We also see that the plot does not develop. We are stuck on waiting for Godot. Okay, the tramps wait and wait and wait. There is nothing more in the plot. Okay, so the development of plot does not take place over here. Talking about the dialogue of Waiting for Godot, the dialogue is meaningless. When you read 2 or 3 lines of any section of Waiting for Godot, you will see you cannot connect those 2 or 3 lines to the next 4 or 5 lines of the same part. Okay, this is what the nonsensical dialogue is. You won't be able to connect the events happening, and this is a nonsensical dialogue, which is a characteristic of theatre of absurd. Okay, it is not interesting to read it, but when you see it on stage, it becomes interesting. Even if you don't know the meaning of anything happening on stage, you will feel that comic touch in the play. Let us now have a look at the symbols in the play Waiting for Godot. The first one is the symbol of tree. I told you in Act 1, the tree is barren. Okay, there are no leaves on it, and it depicts the barren or the purposelessness of life. Now, in Act 1, Godot does not appear on stage, but when we move to Act 2, we see 4 or 5 leaves have come up on the tree. This symbolizes the hope that Vladimir and Estragon have from Godot. Okay, there is still a hope that Godot might come in Act 2, but when we read it completely, we are again turned down. The next symbol is that of Lucky's baggage. We see that Lucky is the slave of Pozo. Okay, and he has some heavy bags in his hand all the time. He does not even put those bags down, okay, when they are standing still and talking to Vladimir and Estragon. He still holds up the bags. Now this indicates the burdens which we as humans take upon ourselves unnecessarily. Okay, let me explain this with the help of an example. For example, you have an exam tomorrow. Okay, now you will take up this burden on yourself. If you haven't studied well, you would be tensed about it. But if you have studied for that exam very well, you won't be tensed about it. We do not study the whole year, and when the exam arrives, the whole burden comes upon us and we are pressured by it. We are tensed for the exam. This is indicated by Lucky's baggage. We assume that the bags which Lucky has, it might contain some items for Pozo's comfort. But we are let down when we see that the bags contain sand in it. Sand is available everywhere, okay? So why do we need to carry it everywhere? This indicates the burdens which we unnecessarily carry upon ourselves as human beings. The next symbol we come across is the symbol of Pozo's rope. Pozo has tied a rope to Lucky. Lucky is the slave and Pozo is the master. The rope between them is short, which indicates the distance between God and man. It might indicate that God is with man in whatever tasks the man may accomplish. Okay, God is with us. This rope is again shortened in Act 2, and we come to see that Pozo is again the master, but he is blind, and Lucky is still slave, but Pozo now depends on Lucky for direction because Pozo is blind. Talking about the themes of the play Waiting for Godot. Absurdity of existence and purposelessness of life. These two are the main themes of the play. We come across these two tramps who are dressed shabbily and who engage in nonsensical conversations with each other. These two tramps are just whiling away their time doing nothing, doing absolute nonsensical activities. This indicates that human life itself is absurd. We do not have any purpose in our lives. Uncertainty of time is another theme which we have already discussed previously, okay, which is indicated by the leaves on the tree in Act 2. Then, the next theme is seeking meaning. Vladimir and Estragon are waiting for Godot, which means they are seeking meaning in their lives outside themselves, okay. They themselves are not so logical or intellectual, but they are waiting for someone to instruct them. We also come across some comical events in the play, okay. The first one is when Pozo enters on stage walking in a military style. This arouses laughter among the audience. The next one is when Lucky's bag is opened and we find that it contains sand. This is comical because we have expected something else. We have expected that it might contain some items for Pozo, okay, which belong to Pozo, but it contains sand. The next one we have is the exchange of hats, okay. Vladimir and Estragon are alone on stage and they have Lucky's hat as well, okay, and these two tramps are exchanging these three hats amongst themselves continuously without even any break in between them. This again arouses some laughter. So in short, in this play, nothing happens. Nobody comes, nobody goes. It's awful. Let us end this video lesson over here, and if you liked watching this analysis of Waiting for Godot, please subscribe to Ingli Tales. And if you haven't watched my previous videos, you can check them out here.